Morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. Feeling a little bit less overwhelmed, I think is the word to describe it this morning. We're going to be running through the latest United news, as always, as we do every single day. And to begin the show, we're going to start with Tyrell Malacia and the Here We Go being confirmed to PSV. And a very good deal for United, by the way. Can I say this? We'll also have a discussion around Patrick Dorgu. We'll speak about... What else we got on here? Diego Leon. We've got Jim Ratcliffe reversing some cuts to the Manchester United Disabled Supporters Association. And yeah, we'll have a chat as we do every single day. Who's here from the mod and the member gang? Let's have a quick look. I don't know what's going on here technically, by the way, but for some reason it's not like I can't... Hope there's not any technical issues here today because something's just randomly just started here this morning. It's always good fun. And now that the window's gone, you get the technical issues back in. Come on, here we go. Carl, good morning to you. How you doing? Stephanie, you're here as well. What other mods we've got going down here? Can't see anybody else. Everyone else is in hiding. Good morning to Saeed. We've got Mania. We've got Sanket, Natasha, Takeoff, Potato, dropping in a couple of gifted memberships, a couple of hash browns for everyone else. Brian, Marky, and Sue. Good morning to everybody. Hope you enjoy the show. Josh, I can see you there, lurking in the background as always. And Rex. I tell you what, can I just say this, right? I am absolutely delighted that the transfer window is closed. I'm so happy. The January transfer window was never going to... And this isn't Captain Hindsight speaking. You had the hope, maybe... We all knew how bad our finances were going into that window. The fact that we managed to sign Dorgu, I think, is a positive. But the reality was that was never going to be a massively positive window. It was more about some clearing out the house, which definitely happened. And we'll speak about Tyrell Malacia soon. I want to start with this to kick off the show, right? That's like the most Todd Bowley thing I've ever seen. Hey, look at that. See, the subs aren't working up there. For some reason, it's logged me out of all my stuff here. I don't know why, but it's still working. Todd Bowley owns a ticket resale website. It has to be one of the, like, surprise, surprise sort of bits of news that you read this year. Yeah. American owners. I know I've got anger towards state ownership in the Premier League. But American owners, man, are equally as dangerous. And in terms of Americanizing the game. I hope Chelsea fold. I really, really do. Now, this is hilarious and not funny at the same time. Look at this chart here, right? Top spenders during the winter transfer window. All Premier League clubs, if you remove Man City, it's in dollars, so it must be done by CBS, so it's done in America. $248 million spent by all Premier League clubs that aren't City. Serie A spent $227 million. And then Man City themselves spent $214 million. Man, City, it's just that's relentless, isn't it? When their revenues were, what, I think Real Madrid topped €1 billion in revenues this year. I think that was the first time anybody's ever reached that. But yeah, it's almost like City now. They've got a transfer ban coming up. What? Couple of member chats in there. Let me read these out. Eric saying, morning, Sam. Just wanted to say, really appreciate the quality content from the team lately. Thank you very much, dude. I'll tell you what's coming tonight. You'll all enjoy this one. Tonight is Wednesday. And of course, Wednesday, 6 p.m, United People's Productions. And tonight we've got something around Ruben Amorim smashing the TV and the hairdryer. I think you'll like that one. I think so anyway. Connor saying, first time getting to join in a live. Take it easy, dude. Thank you very much. You're saying, loving the content community, refreshing to watch content that's fair and balanced. I try my best. I tell you what, I wasn't particularly fair and balanced yesterday. My head was hot. My head was particularly hot yesterday after the window. But yeah, City, great. Anyway, let's move on to talk about United. The under-18s yesterday, unlucky for them. They played West Ham. I think it was in the quarterfinals of the Premier League Cup, which of course they won last season. They lost 5-4 on penalties. It was Victor Musa who missed the decisive... No, Louis Bradbury, actually. It was who missed the decisive penalty, who I think came up into the under-18. I think he was only 16. But no treble this season for the under-18s, unless they go and win the... They're in the FA Youth Cup still, aren't they? I think they are. Oh, come on. I'm actually speechless. I can't. United Menace has been absolutely bang on with a lot of his news. I don't know where his sources are, but clearly he's got someone inside that dressing room. I think it's probably somebody between... I'm guessing it's someone in the medical staff, judging by sort of the news that he gets. But he's reporting... This is exactly why. I can't. I just can't. I know that Luke Shaw... If you think about Martinez, I know that he could, but I can't. I can't give anything to him. I think Luke Shaw's just got to don't know, give up. What does he do? What does he do? His body is properly made of biscuits. I don't think it's... I've got an absolute ton of sympathy for the idea that, like, Shaw is training, he's putting in the graft, but he just keeps snapping every single time. Like, it literally made me speechless that that's just come out whilst we're live. It hasn't been confirmed by the club yet, but as I said, United Menace has been pretty damn bang on when it comes to injury news at United. I'm laughing because I don't even know. I don't know what reaction I need to give now. I said at the very start of the season, I said there's no way that Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia will be Manchester United players next year. It doesn't matter what happens this season. It can't happen. Then Luke Shaw has missed, 80%? I mean, I feel for him, but move him on. And I think we already have, really. We've signed Patrick Dorgu, who is going to be our first choice left wing back now and left back. And we've got Diego Leon coming in, and that is your Shaw and Tyrell Malacia replacements already in the club. It's just a case of finding a new club for Luke Shaw, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. There might be... Yeah. I mean, why would Luke Shaw do it? If I'm being totally honest, I wouldn't do it. Probably not. There's no way that we're going to be able to sell him. It'll probably have to be a loan spell, partly wages covered, hope that he regains his fitness and have a buy option included in it. DP, you're saying that we just sent out Malacia. I was already questioning it, keeping him as a backup. Nah, disagree with that completely. I can't disagree with that anymore. And let's move on to speak about Malacia. Right? Let's talk about the Malacia deal first. Let's talk about the numbers involved, his quotes, and we'll have a little conversation around him. And then we'll talk about United's options going forward. Apologies to anyone down there. That's a fair comment there. The tweet here from United Men is saying that Luke Shaw has suffered an injury setback anywhere from 4 weeks out, subject to change again, depending on treatment and rehab. So that's the news there, that Luke Shaw has suffered another injury setback and is expected to miss at least 4 weeks, but probably more. I mean, these injuries must be pretty damn severe. 4 weeks is a pretty... That's like an injury. That's not a setback. That's an extra injury. Anyway, Malacia. Okay. We got the here we go yesterday from Fabrizio. And I've actually accidentally skipped that. I've gone too far along. Here we go. Manchester United confirmed last night that Malacia has joined PSV on loan. Of course, we signed him from Feyenoord, and I think it was for around 15 million euros-ish. I think so. Thereabouts. And he has now rejoined PSV, not Feyenoord. And here are the details about the deal. All right, we've got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. The loan move with salary covered. So 100% of his wages are getting paid by PSV. And that's until June. And there's a buy option that's included that's worth 10 million euros. And then Fabrizio also says, understand United will also have a 30% sell-on clause as part of the deal. Now, that's great business. Considering we paid, I think someone down there saying around about 12 million for Malacia. Can't be, maybe a little bit more than that, than what we got there. But Malacia's missed like the last 2 years through injury. So the fact that we've been able to move him on loan, get 100% of his wages covered, and include a 10 million euro buy option and a 30% sell-on clause, that's top-tier business. That is very, very good business in terms of the deal. And an interesting part of this is Malacia was on the verge of joining Benfica. And the deal collapsed. The deal was at an advanced stage. And I think it's because United basically didn't want to get lowballed by Benfica. Just ship players out just for the sake of shipping players out with poor offers. And they held their stance, and it worked. And Malacia has now gone to PSV. And I wish him the absolute best of luck. With Malacia, again, I would probably say the same thing about Luke Shaw. No, I definitely would, man. These two players aren't trying to get injured. They don't want to get injured. They don't want to spend their time on the rehab table. Luke Shaw's body has let him down. And it all comes back to that massive double leg break against, ironically, the team which Malacia has just joined. That was my first ever European away. I always remember that. Eindhoven. Luke Shaw has never been the same player since. And his body came back and he fought through it, but it's just, there's nothing he can do. I don't know why I just made that noise. Luke Shaw's body is not elite. Malacia's hasn't been for 2 years. But for the fact that he's now gone on loan, he's going to play regular football, and this is what he said in his first interview. He said, I'm happy to be here, finally playing football again, good football again. I'm coming off a long injury, but by now I'm fit and know that my time will come again. In every tough period, there are also positive elements, and in this case, it is that I've become much stronger physically and mentally. I have more patience and more mature, know my body better and things like that, and I'm ready to pop, maybe not the word pop, and hopefully win several prizes with PSV. And I wish him the absolute best. Always seemed like a good lad. When he first came in that first season, remember that he came in. It was the Luke Shaw understudy. I thought he looked pretty good. I would say, if you can try and remember how Malacia was in that first season, that's what I would expect Diego Leon to be when he joins. Somebody who's got real physicality, is an athlete. Yeah. Ish, Malacia was tiny, but very good recovery pace. That's what he had. Anytime he was out of position, he would just accelerate straight back into it. Good going forward, questionable defensively. That's exactly what I think Diego Leon's going to be like when he joins as an 18-year-old this summer. But just good luck to Malacia, and I wish him the best of luck. And I will say this, and I know there's going to be some people down there disagreeing in the comments. All right? I've got a photo of Rashford and Antony up here as well. And you can include Malacia in this, because if we go to the whiteboard, the 3 first-team players who've left, there's loads of players who have left on loan, younger players, but there's 3 first-team squad players: Rashford, Antony, and Malacia. I genuinely do not think that our first-team 11 or our squad has been weakened by any of them leaving. With Malacia, you could say, well, obviously, Luke Shaw injured. Let me see if anything else has been said about that, because it's beyond reacting to anymore now. It's like literally watching the same film like 9 times. But Malacia leaving, all of a sudden, oh my God, we've just signed Patrick Dorgu. So our options are better. We've got Aidan Heaven, who's just been brought in as a left-sided centre-back option. You've got, of course, Gobble Kakonki down there as a 16-year-old who's been training in and around the first team. But we've got Dorgu. So we're weak in the left centre-back position, more so than we are weak in the left wing-back position. And that's because of Martinez's injury, which no one can really foresee. Anthony leaving, it changes nothing in our squad. Absolutely nothing. Any minutes that Anthony could have been given in the second half of this season, we'll find out. Jonathan, you're saying disagree. Who plays at left back if Dorgu gets injured? Who is the backup for Dorgu then? You're probably looking at Delo, which is exactly what it was anyway. So if Dorgu gets injured, then the left wing back is going to be the person who was playing left wing back, even though Malacia was fit and available. It doesn't change anything. It really, really doesn't. And what it has done is you've now got Malacia's wages covered completely. And it's as I said, it's really shit that we have to care about this as United fans. It really is. The fact that we've all had to become like part-time accountants when talking about our football club and the deals that they do and the transfers that they do. But it's just the reality of where our club is right now. So because we are part-time accountants, we've saved all the money on Malacia's wages, 84% of Anthony's wages, and a minimum of 75%, let alone more. And there's quite a few down there who are correctly, I think, saying Amas. The reason I'm saying correctly is because I'm not talking about him as first choice. I'm not even really talking about him as second choice. First choice is Dorgu. Second choice is going to be Delo. I don't really want to see Delo as a left wing back at any point. But in reality, it's going to be him as a backup to Dorgu right now, until maybe Diego Leon comes in, and then we'll see there. Harry Amas didn't get a loan. If we go back to this board again, like there's so many players who got loans. I was disappointed that we didn't get one for Harry Amas. I don't think he's developing well at all this season. Not from the under-18 season he had. The under-21's environment is just not conducive to players properly growing, man. I don't think so anyway. So those 3 leaving, and Rashford, right? People talk about, of course, we've got absolutely crap options in attack. So if you're looking at somebody's exit who might actually impact the quality of our maybe first 11 and certainly squad, you might look at Rashford. But hand on heart, I don't care what Rashford does at Villa, because I don't think he would have done that at United. Like Rashford had just checked out. I can't say that with utter confidence, because maybe if Rashford had stayed, he would have sort of put his head down and sort of refound himself, and all of a sudden maybe scoring goals. But that was a massive, massive, massive if. Let's be totally honest. A complete if. You have no idea whether that would have happened. And the last couple of years with Rashford at United show you that that's probably not going to happen. And certainly what happened with Amorim dropping him for not doing enough to impress him. Rex, you're saying my maths could be wrong, but the outgoings have saved United around £10 million in wages this season? Is that it? I mean, we're not paying Dorgu 10 million in wages. He's getting 40 grand a week. 40 grand a week, 160 grand a month. For the rest of the season, that's like what? 600 grand? Certainly not 10 mil. Either way, these are good savings. Whether or not this actually becomes something that leads United to be able to spend more in the summer, that's all we care about. We don't really care whether United save wages on players here or players there. What we care about is our club's ability to actually act like a football club, which we couldn't do in January. This is Manchester United we were talking about, man. And all we could do in a window where we desperately needed signings, all we could do was go out and sign a left wing back from Italy for 25 million pounds. which is an improvement to the squad, but far from what we actually needed. Overall, we needed a lot more than that, but you don't really typically get it in January. Either way, we couldn't get it in January. Even if we wanted to get it in January, we couldn't. The point here is that Malacia deal, I'm pleasantly surprised that United have got a €10 million option in that. And hopefully he stays fit and they exercise it. I'm pleasantly surprised that United got 84% of Anthony's wages covered. And I'm definitely surprised that United managed to get 75%, if not 90% of Rashford's covered. Although the 40 million buy option, that doesn't sit right with me, if I'm honest. I don't think that's enough. Let's find out. Right, before I move on to the next topic, I want to speak about this Mathys Tel deal, right? I want to say a big shout out to the man himself who has been such a big contributor to this community. That's Nuruddin dropping in 50 memberships. And Nuruddin, I'd explain to you, and I've explained to everyone else, I've said, it feels like I've been saying this for months now, about all the things that I want to bring to this community. And truth be told, I've been so sidelined with all the new content I've been doing, all the new mini docs and the deep dives, that it's properly consumed me. So I haven't been able to push forward with the community stuff. So what I've done and what I'm doing now in February, already started these conversations, is working with Alex. Big up to Alex, who is a long-standing member of this community. He's going to come on board and help me in terms of managing the community. And what that will mean is we're going to start doing a lot more giveaways, a lot more genuine prizes, a lot more interactive stuff. The members-only content's going to really get upgraded. And stuff like that for Nuruddin, contributing to the community. I want to do more and give back. I want to bring more interactivity to these live shows. I want to have a running counter, the road to 500k, and little spot prizes and giveaways along the journey. I want to have some more fun with the live shows, all right? But I haven't been able to do that myself in terms of community. But that is coming soon. So big up to Nuruddin. You're helping enable me to keep doing the videos like the one that's going out tonight, the hairdryer video. And I think you'll enjoy that one. Now, can I just speak about this? First of all, what a weird photo. Am I missing what? Is this a meme of something? Is this supposed to be like a... I don't know what it is. Anyway, Mathys Tel. We did a live on deadline day when the news broke from Fabrizio Romano about Spurs signing Mathys Tel on loan with no buy option. And I was confused. That's all I was like, that makes no sense. How? How does that make sense? And we had conversations. Did The Shining? Are they taking a piss out of Shining? Why would they do that? It is The Shining, isn't it? Well, it's not exactly a positive thing, is it? Oh, good. Here's a serial killer. Hello, mate. Here's a murderer coming through your bathroom door. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for him to play. Anyway, and a lot of United fans were angry because they're thinking, well, surely that was a deal that United could have done. And I don't think there's going to be many United fans who are angry when they see the numbers involved in this deal, right? This has been confirmed by Fabrizio as well. Bayern are going to receive a €10 million loan fee for Mathys Tel. Spurs are going to cover all of his salary, which is $2 million gross. And then on top of that, Spurs have got the option to buy at around €55 million, which could rise to €60 million with bonus payments. And I don't know whether that's on top of the 10 million. And also that bit there I put in red. Tel has made sure he will have a decisive say in whether Tottenham exercise a purchase option. Which they obviously won't be able to do because he'll be like, nah, going back to Bayern, lads. See ya. Or he might not. We'll see. But either way, if United had signed Tel for that amount of money, €10 million as a loan fee for 5 months. So you're paying $500,000 a week for him to play for you. That's nuts. That's like a performance, but that's mad. Salary, that's always covered anyway. But if United had done that, then any money that we have managed to recoup through Malacia going out on loan and the wages being covered, or 84% of Antony's wages, or 75% of Rashford's wages. You can top all three of those up and then add some more on top of that for Tel coming in. Now, someone on Twitter yesterday was like, Sam, how can you say that Spurs have been fleeced around this? Because what if Tel gets Spurs into Europe? I wouldn't look at the table then if you think that any one player is going to get Spurs into Europe. I was frustrated that United didn't sign an attacker in the short term. I still kind of stand by the fact that if United had planned that properly in that month, there must have been a far lower cost than that short-term option that would have been a boost for Amorim. But we didn't find one. I'm not sure we ever looked for one. Well, actually, that's a bit of a lie. We were looking at Tel, we were looking at Nkunku, and we were looking at Leon Bailey. And we just decided that none of them financially made sense. But I'm sorry, that deal is... Spurs have just got their pants pulled down there. Even if... I'm sure I'll get clipped up and it'll get used against me. If Tel scores in his debut in the Premier League against United. What is it, next weekend? Which he probably will, because this is just how the football gods work. But as annoyed as the United fans are, the fact that we didn't sign an attacker, there would be a lot more angry United fans had we done all of these cuts and everywhere, and the season ticket, not season ticket prices, but the member ticket prices, and just in cuts everywhere, if we then spent 10 million euros on signing Tel for 5 months. That would have got an even angrier reaction, I think, than not signing him in the first place. That's kind of what I feel. So, yeah, good luck to Tel. He may well be a good signing. But in the context of our finances, which unfortunately we have to care about right now, that's a madness. That is a madness of a deal. Now, can we actually talk about somebody who will be playing for Man United? And I think I said this yesterday. I felt a little bit sorry for Patrick Dorgu because he was signed and his unveiling happened before the Crystal Palace game where we got absolutely walloped. And nobody was talking about his interview. Nobody was talking about him. And maybe that'll be a good little thing. He can just sort of like arrive under the radar, just kind of ease into his life at United. But I don't want to put a spotlight on him, but I want to have a little conversation around Patrick Dorgu because I don't particularly think that we've had the opportunity to speak about what we think he's going to bring. Overshadowed is probably a way to describe it, Ryan. And of course, the frustrations of the transfer deadline day and everything that happened there. What's your expectations of Patrick? These are the expectations he's setting himself. And so in terms of what he thinks he's going to bring. This is his first interview, which again, I haven't actually ran through yet. He said, I think I'm going to bring a lot of intensity and physique on the pitch and a lot of energy in running. Good thing. And this down here, and when he's speaking about mindset, I thought it was an interesting little part. He goes, for me, it's the most important thing because there's a lot of talk about and around football, and you really need to be strong outside of football as well. When I've lived in Italy, I've lived alone. Of course, my family is visiting me a lot, but you need to be really good mentally and to stay focused and being concentrated on football. And I just thought that was a little bit of an insight into the mindset of Dorgu. We know full well that he is #athlete. He is going to be a physical demon compared to the players that we have seen. And this is such a basic observation about United's squad. Because you're not doing the basics right, you have to point out the positives when the basics come in. And that's something that he is going to do. He is going to raise the physical floor of this squad. The actual physical ability of our team to play football at a certain level and intensity for a longer period of time during a game. That's something that he will just bring straight away. Will he be an all-rounded perfect defender? Nope. Will he be a perfect attacker who's somebody who's scoring or assisting? Nope, not at all. But just from a in and out of possession perspective, he's going to raise our squad up a little bit. So let me know what you're looking forward to seeing with Patrick Dorgu. Maybe any questions that you've got around him that you think we'll have to answer straight away. Of course, some of them are pretty obvious, but let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Patrick, you're saying, personally, I'm not upset about Tel specifically. I'm more upset that we loaned out 2 forward players and got 0 cover. We are at bare bones now. See, and Patrick, that's where I disagree with you. I've just explained there that Anthony leaving has absolutely 0 effect on this squad. If Man United were losing 2-0 to Leicester in the 75th minute on Friday, you wouldn't choose to put Anthony on. And when you reach that point, it's not really going to change much if he leaves. The Rashford situation, I understand if you want to argue both ways. But from my perspective, I don't think Rashford was mentally there ready for the new fight that would have been required for him to revitalise his United career again. I think he had checked out, said he was ready for a new challenge. So it doesn't matter what I see him doing at Villa. I don't think we would have got that Rashford at United. And as for not bringing anybody in, we know why we didn't. I wish we didn't have to be in that position, but I know why we are. And they're called the Glazers. And there's 20 years of them. Now, could you imagine how bad our finances really, really have to be for Ratcliffe and Ineos just to rip up any sort of fan goodwill relationship with the fans by increasing members' tickets to 66 quid or cuts here or cuts... Like, they don't care what the repercussions of it are going to be simply because it adds more money back into the account of United. Like, how bad must our finances be? Because Ineos know PR. They were very, very good at it at the start. But none of that is as important as the bottom line. I think actually our finances are worse than we all know. Mo, you're saying, hi, man, been following you for 2 years now. We started a podcast channel in India. I represent United there. It'd be great if you could give us a shout out. It's called Football Banter X. Banter. Good luck with you. But the word banter, I just don't like the word banter. But good luck. Sorry, that was a bit harsh of me. What are we saying down here? I am worried about the lack of depth in the squad. Of course I am. Wafer thin. I'm going to be doing, I've already said this yesterday, and I'm going to be doing it today. I'm going to do a sort of a what's happening with Chido Martin. And it's going to be a season, I suppose, a bit of an analysis video. What has Chido been doing since he arrived with the team? How has he played with the under-18s? How has he played with the under-19s, the under-21s? Right? How has he developed this season? Have there been any flashpoints, good or bad? I'm going to bring you that video. I've done one of these on Sekou Kone after he made his couple of appearances with the first team, and it feels like today is an appropriate time to do this. It's not a hype video on Chido. This is actually where he currently is in his development and how he's been playing since he joined in the summer. Ryan is saying it's nothing to do with them being used or not. It's the lack of depth. But that's the same thing. It's the same thing, Ryan. If we get an injury, for me, it's the same thing anyway. I don't think there'll be too much of a difference in bringing through an academy player into the first team environment if we do get injuries than having Anthony on the bench. That's how little Anthony added to our squad. And with respect, that's kind of where Malacia was as well. Yeah, Mirko, I did see that yesterday, and I think people are going to be looking into that way too much, so I didn't really want to speak about it. But yeah, Chido Martin didn't train with the first team yesterday. Didn't train with the under-18s team, wasn't in the under-18 squad to play in the Premier Cup, which I was surprised at. I don't think that was because he was training with the first team. I'm seeing whispers of that. Haven't seen anything else. All right. Let me read some more comments out down here. Nick, you're saying, I'd rather have a wafer-thin squad of workers than a bloated group of millionaires. I don't even really... Honestly, I don't think that Anthony was of that mindset. Anthony was just not very good. He just wasn't very good. Rashford, yeah, we know that the work rate hasn't been there for a while. And I think I don't know when it would happen or when it will happen or if it will happen. But it feels like there's so much more to the Rashford story that we don't know about. Let's find out. And yeah, when it comes to Dorgu, I'm excited to see him. And if you imagine the start of next season, which could very well happen, all right, David Ornstein's already confirmed that United are now, we're exploring that deal with Sporting. There is a chance that we agree that deal, by the way, before the end of the season. You know how, when you think about it, and now correct me if I'm wrong here, the transfer window opening and closing, what that actually means is whether you can register a player to play for your football club or whether you can unregister a player, right? It doesn't mean that you can't agree deals with clubs. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong in that. But Quenda, I expect us to sign him. I expect Ahmad to then be pushed up into that right attacking midfield position on a more permanent basis. And then you're looking at these two lads as our wing-backs for a long old time. Dorgu and Quenda. And then how can you not have Gyökeres near the top of your list? You can't. Yeah, you have to be, surely. Jibak, you're saying, will we be able to attract players who can get us into the top 4 next year? If we finish 14th or 15th, we'll have a lower budget and will players want to join us? Do you honestly, and I'll ask anybody in the comments, do you honestly feel that Manchester United has lost its allure to players? Take Ruben Amorim, for example. Ruben Amorim. This is a manager who was highly successful at Sporting, was mid-season, was on the way to winning the championship again, and United came and knocked on the door and said, you either come now or the job won't be there for you. Sorry, Sporting, I've got to go. United is still United. No matter how low we get, we are still Manchester United in it. And that call brings a lot of people in, even if we're not in the Champions League. But of course, that's where the Europa League comes in. If we win the Europa League, it's going to be huge this year. The Europa League's always been important-ish when we've been in it. And when we did the double under Jose, that was awesome. Oh, I've just remembered what happened with Solskjaer. Anyone else got PTSD about that? I think I do. I properly buried that memory until I just remembered it now. That penalty shootout against Villarreal. So obviously, had Solskjaer won that Europa League, who knows what would have happened after. Maybe that would have been a ripple effect. But it feels like the Europa League this year is hugely important. Hugely important for what happens next season, because there ain't no way we're finishing in the top 4. And just another quick note here. Again, Aiden Heaven is an absolute door of a man. The size of him. Patrick Dorgu's like selfie in the clouds. It's funny. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Yeah, I know, Volpez, you're right. Winning the Europa is a massive stretch with our current form. It is a massive stretch. But the reality is, you look at Chelsea when they won the Champions League, might be a poor comparison considering they did have a decent squad. But a cup is a cup. 7 games. Manchester United have got to turn up in 7 games and we're in the Champions League next season. All right? Which sounds very simple when I say it like that. I know, right? But it kind of is. Turn up for those 7 games, do your job. You're in Champions League next season. And if you look at what was it? So we've got AZ Alkmaar, Galatasaray, Real Sociedad, or Midtjylland, I think, in around a 16. And then if you look at the clubs we can face in the quarters, because that's already kind of written as well. Like we can face Frankfurt, Lyon. Is it maybe Rangers? I can't quite remember. Either way, the route to the quarterfinals, you have United down as favourites. Semi-finals is where the games get more tough. But we'll see. It's not going to be easy to do. I'm not going to say it is. But in the grand scheme of whether we get Champions League football next season, Europa is easily our best bet. I'm going to read a couple of your questions out here. 7 games is tough for us, which is 2 games is tough for us. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's definitely where the aim and the focus is going to be. Is it a massive stretch, though? How many teams in the competition are there to actually be fearful of, says Callum. Well, let's have a quick look left. Europa League bracket. Right, good. There you go. So remember that I think it's pretty similar at the top and the bottom with these. Actually, no, it's not. Who else we got? You got Lazio. Let's have a look at the tough teams. You got Lazio, Athletic Club, Olympiacos, Rangers, Frankfurt, Lyon. They're the only seeded clubs. And you've got Midtjylland, Sociedad, Porto, Roma would be an interesting one. Ajax. There's some decent teams, but I go no further than that. I don't know why anybody's speaking about Spurs being favourites. United have got a big old opportunity to win. I'm sorry that you can't see that because it's so damn small. Let's just go one half of the bracket. It's much easier. You can actually see it. We've got a big opportunity to win that. Someone's saying Galatasaray, of course. There's a few teams in that where you go, oh, that could be potentially tricky. But there's no team in that where you go, oh my God, I do not want to play that team. That's how I would describe that, right? And it's not to say that United are going to win it by any stretch of the imagination. Look at us, man. Like 15th in the bloody league. Well, God knows where we are. But there is an opportunity for it. Speaking about signings, new signings, I think someone sent a super chat there. Let me quickly read this out. RD said, I know you had high hopes for Rasmus under Ramrim. What do you think has gone so wrong? And if anything, he seems to have regressed. It's weird. It's a really good comment there from RD, and I think it's a confusing one for me. Last season, Hojlund got 16 goals, and I thought he had a pretty decent first season, all things considered. This season, I don't know. I'll put this into the comments then. What do you put it down to with Rasmus? For some reason, and I don't know why he keeps doing it, is he being coached to do this? He's staying so tight to his players. It's so frustrating. There's no separation. You know what? One thing that annoys me about the balls that Onana is doing, a lot of times they're looped balls up to Hojlund. I think if you fired them into him, fizzed them in at a lower height, at a faster pace, he'd probably have more chance. But anyway, his first touch is it's like he's wearing Timberland boots right now. I can't put it on anything with Hojlund, if I'm being honest. I don't know what's gone on, but when he hadn't scored a Premier League goal and then he scored against Villa, the winner, and how much it meant to him, and then he went on a goal-scoring run after that, it feels like he's playing football like that. Like everything is ballooning. Touches, runs, body positioning. Nothing's easy for him. And that's when you know you're in a bit of a tough spot. Suraj is saying system and manager change and unregularity. Ali is saying he wants to hold on to his defenders the whole time. It's a team problem, not Hojlund's to score. Bryn, with the greatest of respect to Hojlund, it's a bit of both. There's no way that you can say this is just down to Hojlund not getting service anymore. All right. Sure, he's not getting enough service, and that's correct. But he's also not doing anywhere near enough, and so many attacks are breaking down at the point where Hojlund gets the ball, whereas if they hadn't and he feeds it off to someone else, he'll get more service. So part of the lack of service is down to Hojlund's inability to bring an attack further up the pitch. He has lost his way, someone says down there, like most United players. That's the strange thing. Like as I said, he got 16 goals last season, and he's just regressed, and he has regressed. For sure he's regressed. And the thing is, right, Omar Barada, I think, has like a 2-year policy with players. Well, I had that at City. If it works, great. You can improve, and then let's move forward. But Hojlund in his second season is going backwards, and Joshua Zirkzee in his first season hasn't really ever stepped on the ladder. Zirkzee's still in neutral, and it's February. And Hojlund is in reverse from where he was last year, neither of which is helping us score goals. FDR Scott, you're saying Sporting's left wing-back racked up 6 goals and 18 assists in the 2023-24 season. Nuts. That's a lot of numbers. Mate, is a massively key position. And that's why I'm excited about this lad too. I go back, and just in case you missed the news, right? This news isn't completely confirmed by the club yet, but United Menace, to his credit, has been pretty spot on when it comes to injury news and being first to it. And he's saying that Luke Shaw's had an injury setback, anywhere from 4 weeks out, depending on treatment and rehab. Presumably, we're going to get a confirmation on that later. And then you've got, of course, Malacia, who has now left the club on loan. And fingers crossed, he stays fit there, gets bought for 10 million euros. The end of the Malacia story. And it should be the end of the Luke Shaw story in the summer and the beginning of this lad. And I'll drop the link. Actually, I can't drop the link in here for some reason. I've got to log back in. Anyway, Diego Leon. There's a cool interview on the Athletic with the manager who gave him his debut at Cerro Porteño. So if you want to, go and give that a read. But this part here just sort of gives you an insight into what sort of player we should be expecting. And this is what the manager who gave him his debut said this, right? Diego is a powerful vertical player. He can beat defenders on the outside and put crosses in or come inside on the diagonal towards the goal. He's got a good shot on him. He's not bad in the air, but he can improve. And as an attacking player, he has serious qualities. And that's why I said that I think you're going to see, with the early stages of Diego Leon, is what we saw when Tyrell Malacia came into the club. Somebody who definitely added to the attack, had natural attacking instincts, but defensively, there's a lot that he needs to mature and develop in terms of his positioning and when to go forward and when to stay back and covering your own position. And the manager who gave him his debut was explaining that they saw all the natural qualities of Diego Leon going forward, but because of that, what they had to do was every time he went forward, the midfielder would shift across and cover the space that Diego Leon left. That's how much they enjoyed him going forward and how much he added to the attack. But also, you need to cover him because if he gets caught out. So when he comes in, first game for Diego Leon will be in pre-season with United. But next season, we're going to have Patrick Dorgu and Diego Leon as our left wing-back options. I think we're going to have Quenda and then probably Diogo Dalot as our right wing-back options. Mazraoui should be staying as a wide centre-back. You can see the foundations of a squad that is actually going to be somewhat athletic. It's such a bad thing for us to not have, but for years we've been saying it, like those ball carriers, those powerful runners, those people that you just can't push off the ball. If you get into a shoulder barge with him, you get into a shoulder barge with this dude, you are going to get sent flying. You get into a shoulder barge with this dude, you are going to be sent flying. And for someone who's kind of got a little bit of a diminutive frame, Giovanni Quenda is somebody who can absolutely hold his own, let alone Aiden Heaven, who's 6'3", an absolute monster of a boy. You can see what's being built here. Jonathan is saying it's a clear policy to buy young potential. What makes you think Gyökeres will be bought? I don't see it. Because if there's one position inside this squad, like young potential is great, but you know that young potential only thrives when it's balanced with experience. We know that we've seen the greatest of it, the class of '92, when Giggs and Scholes and Beckham and Butt came into a team that had Keane and Cantona and Bruce and Pallister. The class of '92 would not have been the class of '92 without the experienced old heads alongside them. And if there's one position, I think, where I don't feel United can afford to buy potential, it's with the striker. And that's why, like, Victor Gyökeres is what, 26, 27? One of the two. He's like a ready-made goal scorer for the next 3 years, 2-3 years. And that crossover would be enough for Chido to then come through and all of a sudden when he's 19, 20, come into the first team, having played as a backup to Gyökeres, for example, or Hojlund. I don't think Hojlund and Xerxes will both be here in 2-3 years, I'll be totally honest. That's the one position I think where United can't afford to invest in potential. They need, if there's any guarantees that we need in the summer, it has to be with this goal, with the striker, with the goal scorer. That's just my take on it. Might be wrong. We'll see. We might not sign Gyökeres. We might not be able to afford him. We might have to look elsewhere, and we might have to sign potential. But I think if the club wanted to and got what they wanted, I think they'd sign someone with a bit more experience up front compared to any other signings that we make this summer. We'll find out. Right? Now, can I just say this? Rio, man. What a player. Comes up with some whopper statements as a pundit. The idea that Paul Pogba should come anywhere near back to Manchester United is hilarious. Genuinely hilarious. I don't care how short we are of options. Nope. I don't care where the position of our squad is. Nope. What? Ruben Amorim, who is trying to build a team and a squad who works just as hard off the ball as they do on the ball, and you want to bring Paul Pogba back into that environment. It's the same sort of concept as wanting Cristiano Ronaldo back to the club, which was a catastrophic signing for us. You might not like it. I meant the amount of abuse I got. It may have given you your dopamine hit, but the Ronaldo signing set us back and ripped up any sort of plan that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had. Pogba back might give you a little bit of that dopamine in the arm again, but nah, no thank you. Like, Rio, man, chill your boots. Seriously, chill your boots. It's not that it will make Ruben look like a fool, but it's just like, it's so against everything that he's trying to do right now. Oh yeah, to bring Paul Pogba back into that environment. It's like, stop it, man. Stop it. Oh, that's an interesting one. You got Napoli's sporting director just quickly speaking about Garnacho here. Let me pull this up. We like Garnacho. We made a very important offer to United. To leave the Premier League, he wanted to be economically satisfied, but we didn't find it fair towards our players. So the suggestion there from the sporting director of Napoli, this is probably going to be them just covering their own tracks, right? Let's be totally honest, it probably is. Basically saying, we gave a great offer, but it was Garnacho who wanted more money. So actually, it was Garnacho as the reason why this didn't happen. Whereas in reality, we know full well that they didn't offer anywhere near enough for Garnacho for United to even turn their head. And I'm really bloody glad they didn't. Really glad they didn't. Anyway, wages. I'm looking forward to watching Garnacho in the second half of this season. Now, let me see what you're saying down here about Pogba. Andrew, I see his point. Let him train, no signing. Have a look, see what's changed. No commitment, no loss, but I think he's wrong. Too much risk with the squad dynamic if he's around. Exactly that. So there is no point. There is no point of him saying, oh, just see what he's doing. It's free. You're not risking anything. Nah, don't undermine the work that you're already doing with the existing squad to randomly just bring Paul Pogba back in training. Pop, pop. Rob, thanks for asking, mate, saying, how's the house move progressing? The truth is, it's not. I'm absolutely stuck in a stalemate, and it sucks balls. Moving house is never fun, anybody. But long story short, we were buying a house previously, had a buyer for the flat that we were leaving. We had to pull out of the house we were buying because they lied to us about an outbuilding that didn't have planning permission. Boring, I know, but it's true. we had to pull out, but then we still sold the flat because we didn't want to. The people who were moving in, I think she was pregnant, and we didn't want to. It was near Christmas, and it was the right thing to do. And also, it puts us in a better position because now we can buy chain free. But I'm stuck here. I don't know when. Realistically, I think May, June time, if I'm being honest. It is what it is. Moving house is never, ever fun. I'm going to finish with this one, right? Going back to that again. Let's find out if we get confirmation today. So far, United Menaces, I would, you know how I always typically avoid just like random Twitter accounts and sort of discussing the news here. To his credit, he's been pretty damn spot on with a lot of the news and a lot of injury updates first. Quite a lot of the time, actually. So let's see if there is maybe a statement from United later about a sure setback. Let's find out. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. That was a more chill show. Yesterday was, I felt like I was kind of a bit overwhelmed with the negativity and the conversations around United fans and just the arguments. But today I'm going to do a profile video on Chido Obi Martin to give you a bit of an update as to how he's been playing. Did I miss any super chats? For some reason, because it's logged me out down here, I can't go back and see super chats. I apologise. I'll log back in tomorrow. For some reason, it logged me out. I didn't realise. I only found out as I pressed start on the stream. It then showed me I wasn't logged in. I was like, oh, great. Fantastic. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Make sure you do drop a like on the video. I'll be here later today. And also, 6 p.m. tonight. Forgot about that. United People's Productions. There's a video going out on the hairdryer. Comparison between Ruben Amorim and that TV and Fergie and the hairdryer. All right. You should enjoy that one. So 2 videos today. I do treat you well. Take it easy.